The Edge of Darkness is it's kind of about like there's a lot of claustrophobia to it. I mean, you've seen
What's going to rise web style, the man, the voice of fragrance, and we're here with a familiar face, Mr. Justin Coke. Justin, how are you doing today?
guys. Glad to be back. It's fun.
Glad to have
Yeah.
you back. Last time we talked about SWAT, but today we're talking about something that's entirely different. Let's talk about the Edge of Darkness or Edge of Darkness. Tell us about the
Yeah.
the comic.
I'm a little. I say it with a "the" sometimes too, so it's fine. But Edge of Darkness is it is completely different from SWAT. It is not a comedy. It's sort of a. My wife says I've invented a subgenre. I don't know if I have, but it's kind of a biopunk thing where the human race has been living under the edge of darkness, which is the line in the ocean where there's no more light. Like the sun is done, right?
Okay.
So it's complete darkness, and of course that changes over the course of the day. But we don't need to get into that anyway. But they've been living beneath the edge of darkness for forever, right? And they're living in this thing called the sponge, which is a sponge that has been. They use biotechnology to live underwater, right? So they have like squid suits or whale suits or shark suits where they kind of are spatchcock chickens. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
when you cut chicken down the middle, you fill it up. The humans sort of in the center for being the brain, so they experience the ocean as a squid or as a giant shark or as a whatever. So it's kind of about exploring like the umwelt of other animals as well. Um, but yeah, so it's sort of like it makes Dune look normal, I guess. I
Okay.
don't know. It's kind of it's a weird society that lives in under the ocean, and they haven't seen the sun in a really long time, and their whole religion revolves around the sun. At the same time, they feel cursed by their god, and like the comic is about kind of returning to the surface and seeing the sun for the first time in God knows how long. No.
Sorry.
Oh well. Okay. Come here. Come here, Zane. Come here. My son is very excited about showing up on a podcast.
Sorry. Sorry.
So he came down here specifically because I was podcasting.
Sorry if I interrupted.
This is
You're
Zane.
quite all right. Welcome.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up?
I just wanted to hang out like you promised.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna hang out that long, but you made your. Yeah, we gotta talk about my comic and stuff. So
Okay.
thanks, man.
See ya.
That backfired. I texted my wife like, tell him I'm podcasting, and thinking that he would know to anyway. But yeah, no, he's cool. He's a very sweet kid. But yeah, anyway. So the Edge of Darkness is it's kind of about like there's a lot of claustrophobia to it. I mean, you've seen the art. It's intended to be very kind of smothering at first, and then we
Yes.
sort of merge from that as we go on. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. From the art that I've seen, it's you definitely get that claustrophobic feeling. You get that bleakness of being in darkness as well. So that translates really, really well in the art. No, I have to ask a question though, and this is partially because my professional background is actually marine science, environmental science. So I have to like, so how much, if any, research did you really do and say like what if humans really lived in this sort of place? Do you any
well, I
research
mean,
and relish
look,
and that sort of stuff?
I fully concede that the dive science behind it all is probably pretty sketchy, but
Okay.
um, I've been fascinated with the ocean for a long time. I did a lot of research into. I mean, the world of Edge of Darkness is kind of like if the entire history of the Earth's ocean happened at once, right? Like
Hmm.
there's Virginia, there's helicorpions. Those are sharks that have been extinct for God knows how long. It's basically like if you were a cool sea creature, you're around in this universe.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't look. I put a fair amount of thought into sort of the design of the sponge, but I'm sure that it would not stand up to the strict scientific scrutiny by any means. But yeah, I mean, it more so than lightsabers.
Okay.
I
Yep.
think
True.
I can beat Star Wars on that one. So I mean, it's within the realm of the semi believable in terms of sci-fi.
Okay. I have to ask, is the premise is it's unique. I get a little of like Aquaman from it, obviously with the creatures and everything and under Atlantis. So you have those sort of mythos that automatically come to mind when you have humanity living under the ocean. But even much to what you're saying, like it's something that is seems totally unique, at least based on what I'm familiar with. Um, so where did the idea for this come from for you?
Well, I mean, I've kind of been always fascinated by a lot of my ideas come from books. I mean, I've kind of had the idea of I think if you've seen The Matrix, the idea of sort of plugging in and becoming something completely
Yes.
different thing is right there. So I don't know if it's probably about that old to some degree. And then, I mean, I was reading this book. I mean, it's about, oh God, it's a pretty recent book about, the experience of how other animals sense the world, right? Like bumblebees see completely different colors than we do,
Right.
or whatever. And I just find that concept to be absolutely fascinating. And so, that sort of led into the suit thing, which I was reading about the Edge of Darkness, and there's a book called Beneath the Edge of Darkness, which is all about Beneath the Edge of Darkness, and that directly inspired this. And it's a combination of a lot of different ideas, I guess, basically. And in terms of like when I started writing it, I just popped open Scrivener and started doing. I decided to write a comic, and this is what came out basically, and it really felt very very good. And then I got a lot of really good feedback from it, so that's why we're making it. And then Leonardo Romanelli, who did the art, I mean, he's just off the fucking chain. I mean, he's doing all kinds of stuff that's just insane. I'm super happy that I picked him, that I found him, and that he took it. But he's really into it too, and I think you can see that in the art.
Hmm.
Uh, he's really into the concept as well. So yeah, if it weren't like 2 in the morning, we might have gotten him onto the show. But he's in Italy, so it
I
makes the
understand.
time zone hard. Uh, but no, the art is bizarre, and I love it. I'm super excited to see what he does with the rest of it. Um, and yeah, uh, so I mean, conceptually, this is the first series I wrote. SWAT's the other one we talked about was the second one, and so this was, uh, as much a lightning strike as the other one, really. But I had sat down and just decided I'd written for novels for ages. I mean, I
Right.
don't want to like I just started writing Tuesday and then this came out, but uh, it really felt right. So, you know,
No.
I mean, the script was originally a little crude. Like Leonardo would be like, "This is 2 pages. You can't do this in one page," or something like that. My
Hmm.
sense of timing or what's possible on the page was a little crude, but we've worked that out. So I think the art's looking really great.
Right. Well, I would agree based on what I've seen. I have a question again. If this goes into spoiler territory, let me know and we don't have to answer. But one of the things that I just seen with some synopsis and how you describing everything, I can see possibly, you know, they've been there for so long, they're pretty much existing through the suits. Is there a question of like what's real, what's not? The sort of question of what it is to be human. Does that come up at all in the comic?
Well, it's a 6 issue series. I
Okay.
originally wrote 18 issues, and then somebody was like, "No, dude, just trim it." So I did. Um, so I don't know. I mean, not. You're right. That would absolutely be a real thing in that society, and it would be a pretty interesting topic to explore. But I don't think I got to that in the 6 issues. Um, I mean, there is. It's more a story about the main character Haimo sort of emerging from depression,
Okay.
and so that kind of takes up most of the emotional space in the series. So
Okay. All right. Interesting. Now, in this, I guess in Haimo's sort of position in the society, does this depression sort of have a ripple effect in the society, or is that like a main player in what's going on with
well,
us all the other characters, or is that giving
I
away
think
too much?
well, no, that's totally fine. I mean, basically, I don't even know how much of this actually survived getting cut down to 6 episodes, but it's kind of a fascist theocracy,
Mm,
right? Where there's kind of a god figure who's pretending to be the sun, and it's a police state essentially. And
okay.
so uh, he's not the only one who's suppressed by any means. I think there's a lot of, I mean, part of the idea is everyone's so claustrophobic and not claustrophobic. Oh my god, I researched like it's not claustrophobia, or it's not agoraphobia is not quite the same thing as being afraid of open spaces. It's afraid of not having a place to run or hide,
Okay.
or something like that. I should have researched that, but I mean everyone's very claustrophobic. They're very annoyed. It's an unpleasant society. I mean it's one in which I wouldn't want to live there. It's a dystopia, you know. And so that his depression is pretty well earned. It's not just sort of a random, thing. Uh, you'd be depressed too, right? If you were him. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Now, you talked about how you kind of, you pulled a lot of creatures who will live um, beneath the edge of darkness, whether it's still present or, extinct. Are there any animals that you doing your research said, oh, this would really be cool. Like this would be a great sort of add to the story, or any sort of creatures like that?
yeah. Let me see if I can share it. How can I share screen? Is what is twin cam?
If should be, well, on my screen, it's the share screen is to the right, uh next to chat,
Oh, there.
share
Okay.
screen, raise hand.
Love to share window. Let's see. What? Okay. I'll just share the whole screen. Let's see if
Okay.
that works. Okay. Yeah, share that screen. That's fine. All right. So this is a siphonophore. I'm blanking on the name, but this is a real creature. Obviously, this is a highly stylized version, but that's
Right.
like a. I don't think these are extinct. I think those are still around, but this is actually more of a combination of two different creatures that sort of floats around the ocean eating things. Uh, this is the helicorpion, which is a shark that had kind of a saw blade jaw.
Okay.
Those have been extinct for a long time, probably for obvious reasons. Um, it doesn't seem very effective to me, but I don't know. And then this is a hallucigenia, which is like deep track, like deep time, weird sea creature thing.
Okay.
That's named that because it's just looks like a hallucination, basically.
That it does look like
It's
someone took some LSD.
yeah, exactly. So it's one of those creatures that you just wouldn't, very strange. But I mean, there's so many options, man. I mean, sea life has been weird for a really long time. I mean, there's trilobites and all kinds of weird creatures
Right.
that you. So there was just sort of an infinite amount of material um, to work with, much more than I actually needed or could possibly use, really. Um, but yeah, I looked into that a lot. I mean, I don't want to brag on my diving experience because I've gone on like two legitimate, amateur scuba dives, but there is something about that's scary about pulling yourself down a rope into the abyss.
Right.
My limited experience, it was an experience, even though I've never been more than like 100 feet down. But it's I've always been kind of fascinated with the sea. I've always loved snorkeling and scuba diving and stuff like that. I find it peaceful. Other people find it horrifying, but I think it's peaceful mostly.
I
So,
I've never been scuba diving. That's one of the things I want to do, but just from a before the shift in careers, working in water and being underneath the water, it is such a peaceful experience.
it
It is just
really,
peaceful, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I once I was snorkeling and you know how you can see out and it just sort of fades into blue. I described that to somebody and I was like talking about how awesome it was and they were just like, right. So I mean, what fears you have are very well, they're random, but or maybe not random, but like I'm weirdly claustrophobic, right? In that, but it's mostly being trapped that bothers me. Like I was once in the cafeteria of a women's prison, right? So this is like a 5,000-foot room, but every door is an airlock that I have no control over, and so I had to sit there and just like not freak out. Whereas I don't mind being in a plane as long as it's moving, but if I'm on the tarmac, it really drives me nuts. So that's phobias can be weird like that, I guess. But
Understood. Understood. I totally agree with you on that one. Now, Justin, when is Edge of Darkness? When is the Kickstarter launch?
September 2nd.
Okay,
So
so
we're in the there's a preview page. You can check out some of it. And sign up for notifications, obviously. But it'll be the 2nd for sure.
okay. All right. Well, thank you, Justin. Let everybody know where they can find you.
All right. Well, I'm on Facebook as Justin Koch, on Twitter as at Justin Koch Real, Threads Justin Koch 6161. That's it for now. And yeah, so Edge of Darkness on Kickstarter, obviously.
Thank you. And you guys should have seen all that flash below. And if not, see it in the show notes. Justin, thank you again. Hope to talk to you for your next book whenever that comes out. And obviously,
cool.
Hope you much successful in this one, just like SWAT.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I thought SWAT would be more commercially viable, but I don't know. This one seems to like have its own thing too, as well, I guess. But,
yes.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You have a great night. You guys stay tuned for more.
All right. Thank you.